What the hell is going on?
Good question, Donny. Theresa May insisted that Brexit will go ahead. It sounds like a dog. Sounds like she's calling a dog. Brexit. It will go ahead even if Whitehall Analysis says that it could harm the economy. And Whitehall Analysis said that it could harm the economy.
Oh, no.
But we're going to get it anyway, because we don't care if we do die. The Prime Minister said that she would look at forecasts for leaving the impact for the... What? It's her that said it. I think she was probably drunk when she said what I just said, that she said. The Prime Minister said that she would look at forecasts for the impact of leaving the EU, but it was crucial that the government does what the British people wants her to do. Okay, here's what the people want you to do, Mrs. M. First off, they want you to leave. Your popularity isn't as low as the screaming Mimi in the White House, but it's pretty bad.
You are going to love President Trump.
Second, the people want all of those who don't look, walk, talk and squawk just like they do to be rounded up and sent back from where they came. From where they came. Push them back out to sea, let them drown. You know, those people. Third, the people want to go back to when Norman Wisdom was on at the cinema and we were beating the Bosch and bombs were raining from the sky and children were thrashed for speaking at the dinner table. You know, the good old days. I just find it a little bit, could be appalled. I've decided to be amused. A little bit amusing that a lot of politicians who aren't ordinarily remotely interested in what the people want suddenly have that as their uppermost focus. Theresa May said it's important, of course, that the government looks at the analysis that is available. Does she really need to spell that out? I mean, what else would the government do? Just make decisions based on a lucky 8-ball? A flip of the coin? That's why we've got, approximately how many civil servants have we got in this country? Almost all of them. That's why we have millions and millions of people beavering away doing really fascinating jobs with calculators.
Boring!
Ugh, can you imagine? This is what we pay them for, coming up with stuff like this, reports. Furiously going over the figures and analysing them for us. And then they produce a report and the government says, oh no. No, do it again. So Theresa May said, it's important, of course, that the government looks at the analysis that is available. But of course, it's also important that the government does what the British people want us to do, she said. And she said, the British people want us to leave the European Union, and that is what we will be doing. Well, that sound effect is for the former part of that sentence and not the latter. I don't think that that's what they'll be doing. We'll be leaving the EU, but not actually leaving the EU. I've said this all along. This is what's going to happen. They'll dress it up, put a bow on it, and tell everybody, there you are. Our promise delivered. And no one will notice the difference, other than we'll just be a little bit poorer than we would have been. We'll still be surrounded by foreigners. I hate to break the news to you, but if you want your frothy coffee and you want your meal delivered and you want your office cleaned and your streets swept and all the rest of it, then you're going to have to be surrounded by foreigners, because we don't want to do that stuff. Not remotely interested. We're doing other things like, I don't know, being in a call centre or packing boxes for Amazon. I bet we don't want to do that either. Well, who would? Oh, congratulations to Jeff Bezos, by the way, the richest person in the world. Just got, I think he made, was it £20 billion just the other day? Because shares in his world-spanning conglomerate went through the roof because of, I don't know, something or other. Somebody ordered a nuclear weapons system from Alexa. Alexa! Put nuclear weapons system on my shopping list. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, Theresa May. On the other hand, she may not. She says it's important that the government does what the British people want us to do. But that's not actually true, though. The British people, as a whole, don't actually want us to leave the EU. The British people now overwhelmingly, and to a greater margin than the referendum vote, want us to stay. I mean, even if you dismiss any other thoughts after some randomly selected day 2 summers ago, when we made up our minds on an issue that was way too complicated for any of us to get our heads round. So we all answered our own question, which was not the question about being in the EU, because none of us had any idea what it was, or what it meant, or whether it was an unelected socialist experiment, or anything. Nobody had any idea what the EU was, or how it worked, or what our benefits and the consequences of leaving might be. Not one single person. No, and neither did we know what we were voting on, nor were we in any way eager to find out. Nobody went to a library, nobody looked up research, nobody did cost-benefit analysis, and so based on what did we answer that question? Nobody actually answered the question. They just picked a different question and answered that instead, and mostly it was, do you like foreigners? Now, that again is a much more complicated question than people gave it credit. You may not like people who don't look, talk, walk and squawk exactly like you do, but you'll miss them when they're gone. Because you'll be sitting at a restaurant table, and not only will you not be given a menu, but even if you do reach for one on another table, there'll be no one to give your order to and no one to cook it. Where will you get your frothy coffee fix? That bucket of tasty cow juice will go undrunk. Anyway, Theresa May said, it's important, of course, that the government looks at the analysis that is available. You don't have to pronounce every syllable, Mrs. M. Just relax a bit. Slur your words every now and again. Take a holiday. You deserve it. She says it's, of course, important that the government does what the British people want us to do. But that's not now what the British people want you to do. The British people change their minds according to the direction of the wind. We've got no idea what we want, any more than the leader of this country knows what she wants. Did you see that Angela Merkel was ridiculing our Prime Minister to much amusement? So I'll come to that later. Embarrassing. So if you just dismiss any other thoughts, any like second opinions, any other buyer's regret, or anything like that happened after the referendum 2 summers ago, then what about the fact that the majority of the British people on that day did not vote to leave? How about that? The majority of the British people on that day, on that referendum, when apparently our opinion was uppermost in the minds of our elected representatives, suddenly they wanted to know what we thought. For the first time ever. The majority of the British people did not vote leave. They either voted to stay or they didn't vote at all. That's where the majority lies. And if they didn't vote at all, that implies that they were happy with the status quo, doesn't it? I mean, leavers were much more likely to vote because they were obsessed by the issue. They breathed it. They slept it and they waked it. I think you'll find that that is actually the correct way of saying it. They waked it. See? Leavers, much more likely to go out and vote because it was the only thing that they were thinking of. Remainers, less likely because they weren't that bothered. You know, it's just like like you're more likely to complain than you are to send a letter of appreciation.
Thank you!
I mean, who's ever done that? But complaints? Holy moly, that's our national sport. Well, I don't like that, and I don't like this, and moan, 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 moan. If we could actually monetize that, that's what we'd do for a living. But do you ever send a letter of appreciation? Of course not. Who does? That's what that vote was, that's what informed that vote, in my opinion. Unless I could be getting all of this wrong, in which case you must correct me. And Mrs. M said, what the British people voted for is for us to take back control of our money and our borders and our laws, and that's exactly what we're going to do. No, it isn't. It isn't. America is going to tell us what to do when we finally get around to doing a trade deal with them. And China will be telling us what to do. And India will be telling us what to do. And you know what? It's worse than that. Because HSBC and Amazon and Google and Apple and all the rest of them are going to be telling us what to do. And Toyota and Volkswagen are going to be blown around like a rudderless ship. I mean, we already are. Even being within the EU, we're still told what to do by companies that deign to come and spend money on us. They say, they'll roll up and say, well, first of all, we don't want to pay any tax. And our opinion on that is, well, we're way ahead of you. Of course you won't pay any tax. You're a major world-spanning conglomerate. And then they say, well, we want a factory, and we want free labour, and we want you to give us money. And we do. Take back control of our money, our borders and our laws. Is this the same woman, Mrs. M, who opened our borders and we just opened the key and then threw the key away when she was Home Secretary and Prime Minister? And suddenly she's now a born-again border crossing guard? I mean, it's just bizarre, isn't it, that the laws dictated to us by the unelected bureaucrats of the EU, who are all, of course, elected. And the ones that aren't elected are put there by people that are elected by us. But, you know, you can't tell people that because they've already received some false information on their Facebook feed and it chimed with what they previously believed. So that's it. No further information is allowed on board. That ship's sailed. But those laws that we're supposedly rebelling against are mostly ones that would benefit the very people that voted against keeping them. If you gave the people of this great nation a gun, the first thing they'd do is shoot themselves in the foot with it. I mean, do you think that the successive governments of this country, governments of millionaires, have stopped favouring big business in the past and started favouring the little people? And if that hasn't happened in the past, do you think that it's likely in the future? Or is it more likely that a coalition of people from across the continent would act in the best interests of the many and not the few? I mean, just asking. Because if you think that the Conservative Party is more likely to make those lower down the ladder better off, then I would like to know what from history makes you believe that. Just curious. I know I set that up myself, but I wasn't quite expecting it. Stevie says, Anna Soubry said that she and the rebels will fight to keep us in the customs union. The rebels. The Rebel Alliance, let's call them that, shall we? Well, you know, somebody has to act like a grown-up and in the interests of the country, rather than just in the interests of the millionaires and the billionaires who put forward oily charlatans using Russian money to persuade us to do something that perhaps wasn't in our best interest. Perhaps. I'm just putting it out there. You know, if almost everybody except a few curious people who are curiously keen think that it would be a better idea for us to stay in. I don't know why everybody is, or why all of the people that are keen to get out think that they've made the right decision. Just it seems odd. Curious, but I think perhaps we are easily persuadable. That's Facebook's business model. This says, Theresa May is quite clearly sozzled. I know it's true. I heard the rumour. Which that's about right for 2018. It is true because you heard it. Mary says, I voted to leave and I still want to leave. Nobody asks me in these questionnaire things. What? Nobody asks me in these questionnaire things. What are you talking about, Mary? Shall I try it again?
No.
She says, I voted to leave and I still want to leave. Why, Mary? She says, I'd vote Brexit again in a heartbeat. Yeah, but why? Why? This says, I didn't vote in the referendum. There was no box for ambiguous. What, like a frog? Here is, get Ken Livingstone on the phone. He'll explain ambiguous to us. Dagenham. Hello, Pat.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Pat.
Hello, Nick. First of all, is it true that if we come out, the National Health Service is in a bit of a mess now?
Oh, God, is it ever?
Yeah, definitely.
I went to a National Health hospital today. It was like walking into a third world. It was shocking. I just couldn't believe it.
I know. It's very sad. The A&E, I don't know how they cope. We had to go to A&E the other evening.
Oh, yeah.
And it was absolutely packed. They were queuing outside the door. And and they're trying to shut King George's A&E down. God knows what people will do then, because it's the only two hospitals we've got in the area.
I tell you what, it's not really last week we were talking about this, and I said it's not really a health service, it's an emergency service. We're going to have to get our minds around that and just accept that the NHS is not the envy of all of the world. It's not a health service, a general health service, it's an emergency service. But it's even worse than that, because it's not really an emergency service. If they've closed the hospital that's nearest you, and in an emergency the ambulance has got to travel 15, 20 miles to get to you, that's 15 and 20 miles back, you'll be dead by the time you get there. So it's not even an emergency service.
No, it's very, very sad, but we're fighting to keep it open anyway, so
Yeah.
We've had this fight quite a few times. But if we leave, I hope we don't.
We won't.
But I hope not.
I mean, they'll say that we have, but we actually won't. Because people with their eyes on the prize, who are interested in, the country earning money, I would expect that they're interested in themselves personally earning money, or improving their career prospects, or whatever it is. But I think grown-ups will eventually take over and say, right, okay, the people can just shut up for a minute, because we know what's best. So be quiet and sit in a corner and think about what you've done.
Right. Well, I still think that we won't have a choice to keep in the EU. We won't have a choice. Although the papers and all that, the figures show that people want to stay in now. And we've got a good majority that people that want to stay in. I don't think that we will get through the hard nuts in Parliament to let us stay in. That's what I think, anyway.
Well, neither will we be allowed a second referendum, and it wouldn't make any difference if we were allowed. I mean, can you imagine how complex a trade deal is? It would probably run to 1,000 pages of closely typed, indecipherable jargon. This is lawyer speak. People like you and me, Pat, wouldn't have a chance. You'd need a brain the size of a planet to get your head around something like that. Plus, people don't read anything anymore. Nobody reads anything anymore. They'll read the headline on a news story, they'll look at the picture underneath, and that's it. And journalists know this. Apart from anything else, the journalists don't seem to be bothered about spelling anymore. I don't want to mention the Daily Mail in this context, but online is just, geez, how old are the people writing that stuff? They must be 12.
Daily Mail. Don't tell me about that. I hate that paper. I really do. I think it's an awful paper.
Yeah, very, very popular, Pat.
I know. That shows you how stupid we are.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I didn't say that.
I'm saying it.
Right.
I think the Daily Mail is awful, and they supported Hitler at the beginning of the war, and they used to make all their staff wear black shirts. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Now you know. And it's totally crazy, and I just wish we could have a big demonstration of about 2 million people marching to do a second referendum, and maybe then we won't go out. Why can't they see that we were chickadee-boo before all this happened.
Well, I know I mentioned this a couple of weeks running now, and nobody's been able to prove me wrong, to correct me on this. It seemed that before the referendum, apart from the usual suspects who've made a career out of bashing the EU,
I'm a nutcase.
apart from them, nobody was talking about the EU. Nobody could care less. Everything was going along just fine, thanks very much. And since then, well, the pound's tanked, and we're dragging the rest of Europe down with our dismal performance. And we've got to go through this, probably the most complicated thing outside of wartime that this country's ever been through.
Is it true that if we do come out, which I hope we won't, that the private people with money will then try and take over the health service? While we're in the EU, we're protected.
Well,
the health services.
Yeah. Well, I think that other countries, forget America, because America has the worst system anywhere.
Yeah, I know.
Other countries, our main competitors, have a private health insurance element to their health service, and they have better hospitals, more beds, more doctors, quicker treatment, better results from treatment. They do better than us in almost every regard. It's not just the amount of money that pours into it, it's the way it works. Because, for instance, if you had a bad elbow, Pat, and I sincerely hope you never will, but if you did, and you wanted to go and see an elbow specialist, well, you wouldn't be able to. You'd have to go and see your GP, who would say, well, you've got a bad elbow there. And you'd say, I know that, I just told you. And he'd say, I can't do anything for you because I'm just a GP. I don't know anything, but I know somebody who does. I'll put you on the waiting list. Now, it would have taken you 2 weeks to see your GP, and it would take you 6 months to go and see a specialist. And you would probably have suffered in great pain for at least a month before you made the appointment to see your GP. So it's the best part of a year before somebody actually sees you.
Yeah.
Whereas if it was Germany or France or Italy or Spain or Portugal or, here, there and everywhere, baby, except America, then you could see somebody, you don't have to go to your GP, you could see somebody instantly, Pat.
Yeah, it's like my friend, he's 80, he's got heart failure. He's very, very, very poorly. And because he was admitted to hospital when it was his appointment at King George's Hospital to see a specialist about his heart, because he was actually in hospital, in a bed in hospital, they then said, right, you're off the list, you'll have to get another referral, which meant he's very ill, he has to get an appointment with the doctor, she has to then phone up the hospital, and even then he still can't get an appointment.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
That makes perfect sense. Can I ask you one thing?
Yes, Pat, in closing.
I've not heard any more about that poor girl in Iran.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel so sorry for her and her husband and the little girl.
Yeah.
Why? Perhaps you lot had better talk about it on the radio to bring it to the fore.
Right, why does a story hit the news one day and then you don't hear about it ever again?
I don't read.
I'll give you in one short sentence. The public gets bored. Here's a call in Waltham Cross. Hello, Pip.
Hello, Nick. I know you think I'm going to be bumpers, but I thought I'd have another bash in trying to nudge you into seeing it in a different way.
Nudge away.
Well, I know it's an uphill battle because unfortunately you're right on such a large part.
Yeah, it's wearying. It's wearying being right about everything all the time, Pip. You can only imagine.
Yeah, it's the being run by the sort of like morbidly stupid. When you said about the car manufacturers being able to sort of strut their stuff and demand their thing, how is it that we've got a German car manufacturer who not only was busted for lying about emission levels, but they've actually done an even more disgusting thing. They actually exposed monkeys.
Well, it's worse than that.
And we sort of want to go counter to this.
Now, I don't actually have the story in front of me, but off the top of my head, and I apologise deeply if this is wrong in any way, shape or form, but what I read was that not directly, but they used a company that essentially exposed actual real-life human beings to gas. Now, is there anything in your mind that would bring up warning signals about Germans gassing people?
Warning!
You couldn't make it up. And this is all under the EU. And then you mentioned...
Now, wait a minute. Under the EU? What's the EU got to do with it?
Well, in other words, the EU's being there has been a fat load of nothing, has it? So...
Well, I don't see what that has to do with the German car manufacturers. What's that got to do with it?
But basically, being within this big organisation has given us, the people, absolutely no protection whatsoever from these sort of basically lunatics who are doing what to the people.
Well, hang on a minute. That had precious little to do with the EU and much to do with our own lax regulatory system. And you can't test absolutely everything. I mean, you have to take some companies' words on face value. I mean, you assume that the milk you buy from the supermarket doesn't contain arsenic because the people that sold it to you said that it doesn't. They don't put it on the label, so you assume it's not in there.
Yeah, I mean, we've had our own biological shop of horrors. We've brought them down for decades. I mean, God knows what we've all been exposed to. But the point is, we don't have to put up with it. We can actually, we don't. When you mention the coffee shops, 90% by their own admission, 90% of their staff are cheap imported labour. And why? And what benefit is that to the actual community? They actually
cheap coffee, Pip.
Prime real estate.
Cheap coffee, Pip.
Yeah, no. Well, it actually
it's not cheap, but it's cheaper than it would be.
You know what?
But hang on a minute. But your suggestion seems to be that they are refusing to employ homegrown British coffee making talent,
not at all,
in order to avail themselves of cheap foreign labour. But that's not true because Brits don't want to do that job.
That's most definitely not my point. My point is, if we actually get rid of these sort of clone shops who hog up prime real estate and keep small businesses from actually starting and getting a toehold and actually being employing with proper jobs.
Maybe, but here's the counterpoint. It's not Starbucks' fault that they're so popular, or Cafe Nero or Pret a Manger or any of those. It's our fault. It's our fault, Pip.
But actually, Nick, they are so big they can afford to have some expensive plot of land, and actually it doesn't matter a damn if they only sell one coffee a week. It doesn't matter because they are. You don't have to take my word for it.
Well, I don't take your word for it. A major corporation like that is not going to just set up a shop and make a loss. These are hard-headed business people, Pip. They're going to... No. Well, they don't own the land that those shops are on. They're renting it.
Yeah, not in all cases.
Yeah, pretty much. I very much doubt that Starbucks actually owns a single piece of land that any of their shops are on.
But the landlords were going to want to have somebody who's prepared to take
bingo. Yeah, exactly. The landlords want to maximise the profits from their assets, which means that the only people that can afford to set up on your high street anymore are bloomin' estate agents and bloomin' coffee shops.
Yeah, it's not great, is it?
No, but all of that is our fault, Pip. You see, the destruction of the high street isn't Amazon's fault. It's our fault for not shopping on the high street and buying all our stuff on Amazon, because we'll save 10 pence. And we like the whole idea of somebody bringing us presents down the driveway. We love all of that. But it's not Amazon's fault that they have decimated the high street, and there aren't any nice independent stores up your way anymore because everybody buys the stuff on Amazon. It's not Amazon's fault, it's our fault.
Yeah, no, that's right. Oh well, I tried. I just think we can do a better way. Honestly, I've been sitting up for 12 nights. We've had thoroughbred foals, and they're all being not arriving on time. I'm brain dead. I have to apologise. I thought I'd have a better argument. You'd be very polite.
Okay, thanks a lot, Pip. Tending to her foals. Jada says, please don't say Alexa. She says, I'm listening to you through Alexa, and you just paused yourself when you said it. I mean, Why do people have those things? I find it just creepy. Why do you have something in your house that is listening to you all the time? Don't you find that that just creeps me out? Why would you want that? I mean, you want to know what the weather's like? Look out the blooming window. The blooming window. You can see what the weather's like. And what else does it do? I mean, I just don't get it. Pretty soon it's going to be worse than that. But you know those glasses that they tried to foist on us a little while ago, the Google glasses or whatever they were? They haven't gone away. They are the future. There's no doubt about it. Phones, those breakable things that you put in your pocket, that's going to seem comical in a while, that we used to take around those things and you had to hold it in one hand and prod it with another. How Stone Age does that seem? No. Pretty soon, and it will just become like a watershed moment that everybody will want one. Like smartphones are 10 years old. Can you believe that? We've only had them for 10 years. Isn't that incredible? And yet, more people are addicted to smartphones than heroin. And kids, I swear, kids, get your faces out of your phones. There's a whole life going by and you're totally missing it. They never stop looking at their phones. So the obvious next step is to look through your phones at the world, as in look through glasses. And at that point, we will be experiencing the world as Google wants us to see it. And that's alarming. Because I don't believe that any of the people that run these gigantic tech companies are as nice as they make out. Just because they don't go to work in a suit doesn't make them nice people. Any more than the fact that if Donald Trump actually does wear a suit, he is a nice person.
Donald Trump is not a nice person.
See? Here's Colin Worthing. Hello, Sam.
Hi, Nick.
Sam.
I'm so confused about this transitional period. Last year, Theresa May indicated that we needed 2 years for business to prepare, for Brexit.
Yeah.
So I understood that. I thought, that sounds, sensible.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the EU shot back saying, yeah, you can have a transitional deal, just follow the rules. Everything remains the same.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom. So I thought,
Bada bing, bada boom.
Absolutely.
Oh, I got the wrong one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it. He's more bada bing.
Yeah, that is quite sensible. So this week, I read a story in the paper saying, no, Theresa May was disputing freedom of movement and saying, we'll accept some laws that we want to be able to reject some of the EU laws. So I was thinking, how can you be a part of it and say we don't want to follow rules? It is quite confusing. Is it a fight worth having? Because the EU can just turn around and say, well, take it or leave it.
I've decided not to believe anything that anybody says on this or any other issue. I think partly because anything that a British politician says to the Europeans, they aren't saying to the Europeans, they're saying to us. I think that Theresa May is trying to placate the ardent Brexiteer ultras who will take anything that doesn't look like an immediate breakaway as thwarting the will of the British people. So she'll just keep coming out with this stuff saying, well, this is a red line and that's a red line, and she'll be winking so hard her hair will fall off.
Exactly. It's a false promise. So I was thinking, how would the members feel if, the members don't get to, the members have to follow all the rules, but we don't, but somehow we still reap the benefits.
Well, we still seem to be gripped with the notion of British exceptionalism, as though the map is still pink and we rule the waves. I don't think we've quite got over the loss of empire yet. And hence ludicrous cartoon Tories like Jacob Rees-Mogg, who was engaged in a scuffle.
I don't know. I think he's got style, but there's no substance there when he speaks.
Oh, he's just a preposterous cartoon posho. I mean, he's just, to me, he seems like a ludicrous individual. But that's just me.
Yeah, I think there's something immoral about abandoning your own judgment. Theresa May doesn't seem to believe in what she's doing, but
No.
she's
Well, none of them do. I mean, almost none
Yeah.
of them wanted us to leave. So, that just tells you everything you need to know. That all of the grown-ups who expressed a preference initially thought that it would be a bad idea to go. And, of course, it is a bad idea, even if, in the long term, we are healthier and wealthier and more prosperous. Nobody's interested in the long term. We're interested in the short term, and any upheaval like this is going to be painful. It already has been. I mean, economically speaking, we're all poorer than we were before we made that vote. So we know what happens in the short term is going to be bad. Any upheaval, any change is going to be bad for, not everybody. I'm sure offshore billionaire media proprietors will be just fine, whereas the rest of us that have got a problem. And in the long term, who knows what might happen in the long term? In the long term, we'll all probably be dead because the screaming Mimi in the White House will hear that Little Rocket Man's made fun of his hair.
Oh, not Trump again. It's crazy. It's all about the memo today. But just going back quickly to what we're saying, I think giving a false promise now will probably just irritate people. Why? If I was here, I'd probably just put my foot down and just do what's right instead of going to places like China. And I'm thinking, yeah, it would be good to have a trade deal with China, but then I'm thinking, what are we going to sell them? It's almost.
Well, I'll tell you what we're going to sell them. We'll sell them Buckingham Palace and Windsor Palace, and I think they'd probably like to buy the M4.
Exactly. I'm thinking, the goods will be coming this way around.
Of course they will.
As
they do now. Yeah, I mean, we already sell stuff to China. Germany sells a ton of stuff to China. Being in the EU doesn't seem to hold Germany back. So it's not the problem with being in the EU. It's our fault. It's our problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I don't think China will be, interested in our financial services because they're not properly aligned. Unlike
of course not.
Europe.
Yeah, and that's what we do for a living. Precisely right. Yeah, you got it in a nutshell.
Exactly. So I'm thinking reality is going to bite soon. There's no way we're going to sign a free trade deal, by October. It's never happened before. It takes years to.
It'd be 7 years, something like that. That's usually as long as it takes, about 7 years to sign a free trade deal with anybody, between any country.
Exactly. I don't even know what Canada Plus means when David Plus. It sounds really good though. Canada Plus.
Plus. I think it's one size larger than extra large. Something like that.
It sounds like the green, blue, and black Brexit, like Theresa May started with. It's going to be. I think I see tough times ahead. I had two. So I do contracting. I had two.
Contracting?
Job roles
what does that
today.
mean? You kill people for a living?
No, no. IT contracted.
Oh.
Yeah.
IT, internet terminology. I think that's what it stands for, isn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had two agencies call me today. One lady called me today about a job, and she said, "Oh yeah, got a contract job to start." And I was like, "Yeah, where is it? Is it in London?" And she said, "Oh, Brussels." So I was thinking, yeah, maybe not. But she said, jobs are moving over there, so you might be interested.
Yeah. Oh, I tell you what, Brussels is an absolutely fascinating and exciting city.
Boring.
It couldn't be more dull.
Exactly. But the funny thing is, when she hung up, I had another call from a guy offering another job in Brussels. So I said, no, a lady called me about that job. And I wasn't interested. And she was like, this is a different company. I was like,
the brain drain has already started, people.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
and that's just me. I mean, I hope Brexit goes well, but I just want, us to be, a little bit realistic, and there's no fight to be had.
Realistic?
This,
what are you kidding?
Yeah.
Nobody wants realism to peek into this party. Nobody's remotely interested in experts and their so-called facts.
But the thing, though, Nick, she's just going to wait till March, and then she's going to cave and say, "All right, then we'll follow all the rules." I'm thinking, what's the point?
Well, unfortunately, short-termism is what will do for the human race in both a macro and a micro level. It's the problem with everything. Short-termism. Short-termism. It's like we're all Pavlov's dogs, and when the bell goes, we start salivating. Short-termism. Nobody wants to plan. Nobody wants to wait. And so a politician will act on what... Donald Trump is the distillation of this. He will say and do something that will appeal to the person that is standing in front of him, whether it is one individual or whether it's 10,000 people who are all screaming and wearing stupid hats.
There's a slight difference, though, Nick. Like, the thing with Trump is, although... I don't really like him, but at least he believes in some of the policies he's...
What? I don't think so.
Unlike Theresa May.
I don't think he does. I don't think Donald Trump believes in anything except Donald Trump. I completely believe that, because everything that he says on any issue, you could find the opposite opinion that he has previously expressed on that issue.
Yeah, so many lies he tells.
He's a completely dishonest person.
I'm a person that wants to tell the truth. I'm an honest person.
Yeah, he lied.
He's like a really smart person, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a really smart person. Yeah. All right. He is like a really smart person.
Believe me, believe me, believe me, believe me, believe me, believe me, believe me. Okay. Excuse me. Quiet.
This message says the French want out too, as in as well as TOO, as well as us, in other words, and that is completely incorrect. No, they don't. They do not want out too. This is probably somebody who is reading Facebook, which in France is Le Facebook, and they just get fed to stories that confirm their misapprehensions. The French do not want out. They just had a poll. 54% wanted to hold a referendum on the EU membership, but that doesn't mean to say that they want out. 72% are opposed to leaving the euro, which rather implies that they want in. I'm not saying that you are the person that said that is disseminating misinformation, but yeah, the French do not want out. Ruben says, our 16th century future Prime Minister, Jacob Rees-Mogg, was caught in a scuffle at a university. I guess that's his way of connecting with the young voters. He said, "Ooh, God, the cartoon poshery of that bloke. He's even more sillier than Prince Charles, which I thought was about the epitome of poshness." And in that clip that I played a while ago, advertising Nigel Farage's show, he implied that Jacob Rees-Mogg was going to be the next leader of the Conservative Party, and if so, then the Labour Party should be jumping up and down with joy, because this country is never going to vote for Jacob Rees-Mogg. You've got to be kidding me. If you really want Uncle Jezza to be the next Prime Minister of this country, then the Tories should immediately put Jacob Rees-Mogg in a position of authority. Ditch Mrs M and stick JRM in there. And then see your fortunes dwindle. I double dare you. What a great orange galumph that man is. He's actually picking a fight with the FBI. Donny, they have a file on you longer than your tie. You have to be out of your mind. But, anything to try and derail that Russia investigation. I can't wait till they... wouldn't it be... It would be kind of deflating if the Russia investigation ended and it was nothing. But it's not nothing, obviously, because of the demented way in which Trump and his acolytes are acting. But anyway, so Theresa May, she doesn't know what she wants. She can't explain it in words. Maybe she should get her close personal friend Donny to explain it in words.
I'm very highly educated. I know words. I have the best words.
Yeah. And Angela Merkel is making fun of her behind her back, apparently, to much raucous laughter all round, which is just embarrassing. And none of the numbers that she's coming out with seem to sit well with the people that oversee such things. Like, the National Audit Office is actually going to go through her sums and check her homework on what the Brexit divorce bill is going to be. Because she said £39 billion, which seems like an unusually precise number, don't you think? 39 billion. I mean, I know we're talking about billions, but why not 40? It's a rounder number. This is because 40 sounds a lot more than 39. That's why shoes are £29.99 and not £30. Because even though you know it's only an extra penny, 30 seems a lot more than £29.99. Mrs M is selling us Brexit like a cheap pair of shoes.
Oh, no.
And we peeked in the window and we thought, "Poh, those shoes look good, I'll have them." I bet my glamorous assistant has had that exact same experience.
Precisely.
See? And then you get obsessed with them and you can't think about anything else till you bought them, am I right?
All the time.
So we peeked in the window and we saw those shoes and we thought, "Whoa, they look fantastic, I'll have them." And then we go inside and we try them on and they don't fit. And then we noticed that they're made of cardboard. But we said we'd buy them, and that's the decision that we made, albeit without any knowledge of the actual shoes. But we said we're in, so we're stuck with them. And that, in a nutshell, is Brexit. Yeah. Stuck with it. Nicky Morgan, the MP who chairs the Treasury Select Committee, has written to the Public Spending Watchdog to examine the calculations that Mrs M came up with. £39 billion, that's what it's going to cost for the Brexit divorce bill. The Public Spending Watchdogs are going to go through those calculations with a slide rule and a calculator. Anybody remember a slide rule?
No.
Well, I do. I can't remember how to work one, or really what they're for. You kids don't know you're born. Slide rules. Go and look one of those up on the World Wide Wait, I double dare you. But even though I couldn't master a slide rule, I am very, very good at maths. 6 6s are 42, 9 plus 8 is 18. It's the sort of thing that once you learn it, you never forget. You try and tell that to the kids today and they won't believe you. So let me help Nicky Morgan. I'll go through Mrs M's calculations. She said various wide-ranging sums for the UK's withdrawal payments to the EU have been bandied about. Last month, the Prime Minister told Parliament that the Brexit divorce bill will be 35 to 39? What, not 35 to 40? She said, Nicky Morgan said, Parliament must be able to scrutinise the reasonableness of this bill. But you see, there's the problem. Allowing Parliament to scrutinise the reasonableness of the bill is also known in some camps as thwarting Brexit. Filthy thwarters. And so there's that, which is currently being investigated by the National Audit Office, and they're going to report back to us in May or March, or, you know, one of those months begins with M. Isn't it exciting?
No.
No, not really, no. And by the way, the fellow who's the head of the Comptroller and Auditor General of the National Audit Office is Sir Amyas Charles Edward Morse, KCB. The Comptroller and Auditor General of the National Audit Office, Sir Amyas Charles Edward Morse, KCB. Try painting that on an office door. This is what he said. He said he could try to calculate the return generated on the payment in terms of other negotiation goals such as market access and transition agreements, only so far up the structure, but with a bit at the top that we felt was too nugatory to associate a value with, where any value might be a bit arbitrary. Does anybody have any idea what he's talking about?
No.
Oh, thank God for that. Not just me then. So there's that. We've got no idea how much it's going to cost. And we've got no idea what it's going to cost us to leave once we paid that Brexit bill. And anybody that does come up with a suggestion as to what it might be, you know, experts in possession of facts, are instantly dismissed if their the assumptions that they made do not correspond with a decision that you've already made about the issue. Because nobody's interested in facts anymore. We're an alarming place we're in, the human race right now. Have you seen what's happening in Cape Town? I'll come to that in a while as well. Holy macaroni. The stuff that's going on. You know, in the future, I keep saying this, in future, historians are going to look back on this period in time and they're going to say, and there's a lot of people who are living through it, but they're not actually experiencing it because they've got their faces in their phones all the time. And I'll come to that as well. So there was this study that was drawn up for the Brexit department, which showed that growth would be lower whatever deal the UK strikes with the EU. Doesn't matter what deal we strike, we are like a submarine, he said, desperately trying to find it. We're going down. There it is. We're going to be poor and destitute, but, you know, at least we'll have our country back.
Fabulous.
So according to this study, even a comprehensive free trade agreement would see the economy 5% smaller in 15 years' time than it would be otherwise. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, 5% isn't that much smaller. But how about this? And I address this especially to men. Men, which part of your anatomy would you be prepared to make 5% smaller? I mean, it's only 5%. Of course, this study was made by experts in possession of facts, so nobody was remotely interested in anything that they had to say. Well, that's not actually true. People weren't exactly uninterested. They were so furious that you could see their purple faces through concrete. Brexiter MPs released a statement about the poor state of the economy in any Brexit scenario. And that statement read, and this is a direct quote, that's what they said, went absolutely ape. And they dismissed the Whitehall assessment of the impact of Brexit, saying that experts had got things wrong in the past. Oh, well, forget it then. Scientists have once been wrong about something, so we are no longer interested in science, apparently. I think that somebody's got to put their foot down about this and say, you know what, this has gone far enough. We're going to have to row back on this everything can be true if you want it to be true thing that came in with, Ancient Orange in the White House. Things have got totally out of control.
It has gotten totally out of control.
So they dismissed this Whitehall assessment of the impact of Brexit. And it wasn't just one bloke. It wasn't just an intern that came up with these figures. They have whole offices, rooms of people who do this for a living, that we pay them huge sums of money for their expertise and insight. This is what they do. I mean, if we're just going to dismiss what they do, then why are we employing them in the first place? They said, these are Brexiteer ultras, they said that we must ignore this assessment by people who do this sort of thing for a living. And they do it for the government. And they said that we must ignore it because it was fatally flawed, because it was not written on parchment paper and signed with a quill. And they mostly said that the leak of the report, which was because it was so damaging to the Leavers' cause, we weren't supposed to see. It was an effort to undermine Britain's departure from the EU. Let me translate what I just said into English. Well, you know, I'm all hopped up on sugar and caffeine.
Groovy.
Yeah, it's all running around my brain.
Yowza.
See, we weren't supposed to see this report because it gave us bad news about our future economy. So they wanted to keep it secret. But as soon as it came out, this super secret report that they wanted to keep from us was then rubbished as being just a lot of old pony. Now, if it was rubbish, why were they so determined to keep it from us? Ask yourself that. I mean, if it was just a load of old nonsense, they wouldn't have been bothered about maintaining its secrecy. You know, and it also occurs to me, like I said before, those that shout the loudest about the will of the people have never shown the remotest interest in what the people think up to this point. They deride the will of the people, and with good reason. If the country was run according to the will of the people, Ant and Dec would be the Prime Minister. And you'd be able to vote for the other cabinet positions according to how hot they were and what kind of sob story they could conjure. And there would be the death penalty for parking across someone's driveway. That would be the will of the people. No one should ever ask the people what they think. The danger is they might tell you.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Adam.
Just the other day, I happened to stumble across a perfect cure for insomnia.
Yes.
I just happened to be flicking through channels, and I was hearing the Brexit Secretary Davis's speech. I was out cold in 2 minutes.
Oh,
Boring.
yeah, that man.
I was transition. I couldn't remember a word he was saying. I think even these people are not convincing anybody. I think even like the kamikaze recruiter, he had an easier job. Look, we're just going to teach you to take off. We're not going to teach you to land. Sorry, boss. What did you say? Yeah, just take off. Don't worry about landing. Look, they've got to get the message that the people have had enough. We're drowning in bills. We're struggling to make ends meet. This gravy train is finished. No more shiny black Mercedes pulling in and out of places, chaperoning these people around. The people want out. And Mr. Cameron there, Mr. fly-by-night, can't be seen here or there. He gave the people an opportunity of a lifetime, intentionally or unintentionally, and the people took it. So, and Theresa May, not just Theresa May, all of them, they're coming off as really dodgy.
Dodgy?
How long ago was
just
the referendum?
Nesquik. Pardon?
You're right there.
Yeah, I think so. I need a tissue. A wipe up in aisle 6.
I hope it wasn't hot.
No, it wasn't. No. Hot Nesquik. Ugh. Wait a minute. I better have a tissue in my pocket. One moment, please.
Nesquik, I haven't drank that for years.
Oh, it's so yummy. Other drinks are available, but I don't recommend you drink them. Wait a minute. Oh, here we go. See, I'm cleaning up after me. I'm a good boy, I am.
I'll hold the fort, Nick.
There it is. Okay, carry on.
So, look, even the referendum is a distant memory. How long ago was it?
Oh, 6-7 years, something like that. I think you'll find that that's correct, yes.
I think we've moved backwards, not forwards. The more we've got to do a deal. Then she flies off. She comes back, and I think she's gotten it.
Oh, please, this thing with China. I mean, come on. What's she talking about?
She's not fooling it. I thought she popped off to the local takeaway to get herself
just a Chinese.
Seriously, who's taking that lady seriously anyway?
Oh, poor Mrs. M. I do feel a little bit, not very much, but a little bit sorry for her. I mean, she'll be all right. She's if she's not a millionaire yet, then she soon will be. What with the autobiography and Inside
right.
Number 10 and the speaking engagements and all of that. The ex-PMs are not in want of a bob or two. But why is she putting up with it? I don't get it. I mean, she can't possibly be enjoying this. No good is going to come out of it for her personally. So, I mean, if I were her, I'd have gone long ago. I mean, look at I bet David Cameron wakes up laughing.
Well, he just signed a £750 million deal. I'm surprised she didn't bump into him into China as well. What about Mr. Rocky Balboa? Is it Jacob Rees-Mogg? I can never remember him. He's getting into ruckus nowadays as well. He's supposed to be a potential PM.
Jacob Rees-Mogg is he's the new heavyweight champion of the world.
Like to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
His next contender is probably but seriously, I don't know. The people must be around, especially in Europe. Anyway, they just see us as a laughing.
Well, yeah. I mean, literally, apparently Angela Merkel is making ribald jokes about, well, not ribald necessarily, but rib-tickling jokes about Theresa May's ineptitude, which is, this shames us as a nation. The Germans are making jokes about us instead of what it should be. It should be the other way around.
And they must win, they should be up for our academies. The way they manage to keep a straight face, Tusk and the other guys, without bursting into laughing when they see the British come in now. How they manage to hold a straight face, I don't know. Because they just see them as easy meat, easy prey. But hopefully, on the serious note,
fresh meat incoming.
I hope things work out for the British people because,
you, me, and everybody else. Yeah, I hope that things work out for the British people because I am one of those people.
We've trusted these politicians far too long now. I don't know if there's a new way around the corner, but if this is the best we could muster them, I think we're going to be in serious trouble first. There's going to be, people's assets are going to be, they're going to take a big hit.
Well, they have already.
Yeah, and it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse before it gets better. So all those people who've had, have got used to their property prices increasing and, sitting down on lovely little assets that got tucked away.
Prime Central London is plummeting apparently, and where that goes, then the next ring goes down, and Wandsworth goes down, and then Stockwell will go down, and after that, and right. Cambridge and Manchester and Preston and all points north, south, east, and west.
Yeah, you're very right, Nick. Because once the city goes, because obviously once we're out of the euro, the city's finished. They're going to do their
it's not finished. It'll just be less vigorous and money making than it used to be. Yeah, I mean that just seems likely, doesn't it?
Because at the moment that's the cash cow. Yeah, of course it will.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
All the Europeans are going to take their business elsewhere, and then suddenly London is not the financial capital of the world.
And that does really blow out of the water any suggestion that what we're doing here, the exercise that we're engaged in, is taking back control, because we do not have control as individuals. Globalization has taken control away from politicians and given it to corporations, particularly banks, and that's what we do for a living. And foreign banks actually make more money for us than do our own homegrown banks. And they don't care about us. Bankers in general don't care about us. They're only interested in making money. The only other thing they're interested in other than making money is how much things cost. And I've said this before. If you've ever been around bankers, you'll know that that's absolutely true. It's all they ever talk about: making money and spending large amounts of money and bragging about how much stuff costs.
Actually, there was one on LBC not too long ago. I remembered him, but at least he was honest. He said he doesn't give a hell about anybody. As long as he makes his money, he's good. He doesn't.
Exactly.
No worry about school.
I imagine that it's so extremely boring an occupation that you want to make as much money as you possibly can, as quickly as you can, and get out and retire by the time you're 40. That's all they're interested
if they last that long.
Yeah. Take back control. We don't have control anymore. We've given control to HSBC and Barclays and every other bank that you've ever heard of, and a lot that you've never heard of. Take back control. What are they talking about? I mean, if we can't prosecute a German car company that lied about the pollution that was pouring out the back of their vehicles, if we are completely unable to do anything about that, what control do we have? Zero. It's an illusion. Ha, 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 ha. Everybody sing. Patrick says the British people were not properly informed about Brexit. The vote was narrow anyway, 52 to 48. We want to stay in the EU, and we now want this shower of austerity maniacs out of power and out of office. I really want Jacob Rees-Mogg to be elected the leader of the Conservative Party. Nothing against you, Mrs. M, but oh boy, can you imagine the hilarity on both sides of the Atlantic if Jacob Rees-Mogg was in charge on this side and the screaming Mimi was in the White House? That would be hilarious. I mean, I'd like to see those two get together for a chinwag. Graham said, I voted Brexit so my country would get out of the ever-increasing corruption of the semi-dictatorial EU. They've had 40 years to reform. Instead, they've turned bully to anyone who has the temerity to want to leave. Bully? In what sense are they bullying us? They're not bullying us, they're just setting out what they want, and we're saying, they're saying, we want this and this and this. Now, what do you want? Apparently, we're saying, we've got no idea what we want. They're not bullying us. All negotiations, boy, I would love never to hear that word again. Or I can't hear it without hearing it in Theresa May's voice. The negotiations. They all are, I wouldn't call it bullying, but it's all a bit back and forth. I mean, it's not a love fest, is it? Both sides are trying to get the maximum that they can from the situation. That's not bullying, that's just negotiations. And Tom says, can we please appoint Darth Vader as PM, as he's more popular than Theresa May and Trump put together? Yeah, let's get Darth on the case. Although... Warning! Spoiler alert, Darth Vader is dead. I think he's dead. Isn't Darth Vader dead? I've seen so many Star Wars films, I can't remember if Darth Vader's dead yet. Is Darth Vader dead yet? I suppose they're all dead, because it happened, a long time ago. So a caller some moments ago suggested that millions of people, 2 million people, should march on the streets of this country against leaving the EU. And I took that on board when they said that, and I thought, nah, that's not going to happen. And so says Simon. Simon says, the chances of getting 2 million people to actually go out and march against leaving the EU is nil. Ask people online to vote to name a ship Boaty McBoatface, and about 30 million will deign to press a button on their devices between mouthfuls of crisps. Wow, did you see the report about the food that we eat? Holy macaroni, no wonder we're all, they have the silhouette of a weeble. I'll come to that either, maybe later, as an amuse-bouche. Or pudding. Dave says, my mate has a daft Alexa device. His kids now bark orders at their mum without saying please or thanks, as though she's a daft Alexa device. We're growing a generation of stupid, says Dave. Grown. And that's the cat thing that I was talking about. Well, I'll come to that in a minute. Limestone. Hello, Joseph.
Oh, hi.
Joseph.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Mr. David Davis.
Yeah.
Is not intellectually strong.
Not intellectually strong.
Enough to negotiate for UK.
Well, it would be nice if there was somebody else available.
Because Richard Barnier, or Mr. Barnier rather, the man, when I look from afar, the guy knows what he wants.
Yeah.
And he's been told, whatever the UK says, just say no. And take as much money as you can from the UK.
Right.
I find it embarrassing, as you said, embarrassing. It's not as if the UK is begging.
Yeah, well, it does look like we're on a gigantic worldwide begging tour. We're begging the Chinese, and we're begging the Venezuelans, and the Philippines.
The UK should not be begging. We should tell these guys, we are going.
Yeah.
You want to buy from us, give us a good deal. You don't want to accustom, get over our face. But Mr. David Davis, I look at the man, the way he speaks, the way he answers questions, and I ask myself, I would negotiate this guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's true, Joseph. If your negotiating position is, you better give us a good deal or you can get out of our face.
Yeah. Look.
I mean, have you ever entered into a negotiation on anything with that attitude?
No, not with that attitude, but it seems as if, okay, take for instance now, in the papers, Mrs. Merkel or Angela Merkel or Angela Merkel,
yes,
making fun of Mother Teresa.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Now, to me, that is embarrassing.
It is a little embarrassing, yeah.
So what we should be saying to them is this: look, we have the muscle, we have the money to buy things from you guys,
but we don't have the muscle. That's falling into that old trap of saying that they need us more than we need them.
I'm not trying to fall into any trap here. I understand what you're saying. But see, the thing is this. They know what is going on in the UK through the press. And you know what? I think the time has come for all these ministers to back Mrs. Theresa May or get out from the cabinet.
Yeah, but what does that mean? Back her on what, though? She doesn't know what she wants.
Because, don't you understand, Mr. Nick? No one had any plan. Even your colleague, Mr. Farage. Mr. Farage...
Mm-hmm. He doesn't have any plans.
I'm a nutcase.
Wow. Who'd have thunk it?
Nobody had any plan for Brexit. So everyone is in the topsy-turvy, everyone is in the turmoil, everyone is in a dark room looking for the way out. Mm-hmm. And then they're trying to just make rules as they go back. But what I'm saying is this. Mr. Davies needs, either the man needs to be schooled and so look, what we want from the EU is this. Tell them what we want. If they cannot give it to us, let's call their bluff.
Well, I'll tell you what we want. What we want is everything that we've already got, but the ability for our politicians to say that that we have complete control. It's a total fallacy. We don't have complete control. We're just blown around in the wind by the forces of whoever we depend on for our money the most, which is the banks and the accounting firms and the lawyers and the German car makers and the Japanese car makers and all the rest of it.
The thing is, Mr. Nick, I like your show because you joke a lot. But the thing is, of the things that you say, there is so much seriousness in them that only a foolish person will overlook it. This country depends, for real, mate. This country depends on the financial sector.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's right.
You allow those guys to go, there'll be problems in the economy without a shadow of a doubt.
I know.
Can you tell these Brexiteers and the Brexitimists and the Brexit terrorists that, look, we cannot just jump over this cliff because we need the financial sector, and if this country cannot even tell Volkswagen to pay money to pay a fine.
Yeah, that seems curious. I mean, the Americans are finding them billions and billions and billions of dollars, but apparently we have absolutely no way of even giving them a slap on the wrist. We can't pull their shorts down and smack their naughty German bottoms. Apparently, it is completely out with our control. But the Americans can do it, so how can't we? Oh well, we don't have the requisite laws. It's got nothing to do with the EU. It's all on us. All right, thanks a lot, Joseph. Leave it with me. Simon says, I use Alexa to voice operate lights and switches in the home, plus the usual commands, news, weather forecast, temperature. Plus, you can ask all sorts of questions, and Alexa tells jokes too. Tells jokes? Okay, you know how you ordinarily, a normal person would operate the lights? They'd switch them on at the wall. How lazy are you? And this is a huge problem. We are staring at it. We can see what's coming, but we're pretending that it isn't. When everything is online and on Wi-Fi and it's all connected together, that means there's just more to break. It's like how many? This is going back a bit, but can you remember when we weren't too lazy to wind up our own car windows? Do you remember back that far? I mean, the window was right there. You were almost touching it with your shoulders. Well, in old cars that were so small, you actually were. I mean, you didn't have to get up and walk over to it. It's right there. And yet we were too lazy to wind it up and down. But how many of those old winding window things actually broke? None. Zero. Not one single one. And anybody who has a car over about 3 months old will know that the windows break with great frequency. Mine do anyway. It's the same with everything. If it's more complicated, that's just more stuff that's going to break. And it's more things for the Russians to hack into. You'll be enjoying an evening of a hot personal interface action, and the Russians will turn the lights on.
Disgusting.
And then you will see your shame. This says, I think what's more frightening, maybe this is the second part of this email or message. Is this the second part of this message?
No, it's a different
It says, different one. It says, I think what's more frightening is the prospect of being unable to communicate other than via a device for those of us who are now old school when we still feel so young. I'm not worried about the young people being affixed to their apps, but am concerned about being forced to engage in a medium I'm uncomfortable with. Old school for real. Yeah, I think in a nutshell, kids, you're going to have to get your faces out your phones. It's pathetic. You're addicted. Admit it. Come back to the real world. It's all around you. This says, you're right about telling kids to get their faces out of their smartphones. Nobody's going to lie on their deathbed wishing they had more Facebook likes. And the rest of this is in capital letters, like he's shouting at me. Says, for God's sake, start talking to each other. And the kids today said...
No.
Yeah. Talking? Talking's so boring. In a nutshell, they said... Yeah. Just the very idea. John says, I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots. Well, that day has arrived, John. And an indication of that is the fate of pussycats, which I am personally upset about. And I'll come to that in a minute. Did you see that story this week? I bet my glamorous assistant saw it, and I bet she's hardly been able to get over it.
I'm racking my brains. I'm not sure if I have.
It was a very upsetting story. It was, of all the stories that I read this week, you know, of Donald Trump's fighting with the FBI, which is really stupid thing for anybody to do. Never mind about the President of the United States of America. Never mind about a man with that kind of history. What an idiot.
Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Stupid person. So, that's just an unfolding kaleidoscopic clown show over there. So that was the regular amusement from America. And then there's this whole Brexit with the negotiations thing. And in amongst all of that was a story that really did encapsulate where we are as a human race. And it's taken us a very short period of time to come from acceptable behaviour to what I believe now is the ruination of the human race. I'll put it as boldly and bluntly as that. We're looking at the ruination of the human race, and the issue is about pussycats. Which I was very upset to read about. You didn't read about that?
Now, as you're saying it, I think I know what you're talking about now. I won't give it away, but yes, it is abhorrent.
It is abhorrent. Disgusting. Amanda says, today I read something on Twitter. I know, always a mistake, she says. It said that Melania only follows 5 people on Twitter. One is Obama. Do you think that's true? I don't know, Amanda, but you can look it up. I mean, doesn't Melania have her own tweeting account? She probably follows Donald to make sure that she knows where he is at all times. I'm on the toilet, I'm tweeting. But whether she follows Obama, I don't know. But about 5 sounds about right. I mean, I follow 30 accounts. Almost none of them are actual people. I'm not remotely interested in what people think. I've met people. Anybody that follows more than... hang on. What's this?
I just had a look.
Yes.
That is entirely correct.
Is it really? Who are the other people?
You've got Trump, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Vice President Mike Pence.
Ugh.
Karen Pence, the second lady.
Oh, please.
And the other Trump president account.
Really?
Yeah.
Both. So she wants to be absolutely certain she knows where he is.
All the news.
Yeah. Huh. Wow. I bet Donnie doesn't know that Melania follows Obama. Obama, I mean, if you can remember back that far through the kaleidoscopic clown show that we've been experiencing since the Ancient Orange ascended to the top job, Obama was way more presidential than Donald Trump.
I can be more presidential than anybody.
Okay, once again, I stand corrected. Yeah, if you follow more than about 600 people on Twitter, then it doesn't mean that means that you're not actually following anybody at all. I do feel a little bit sorry for the kids today because they are engaged in a real world popularity contest, and it didn't used to be that you were generally considered popular or unpopular. You got an actual number associated with how popular you are. I think that's partly why they're all addicted to their phones, and it is an addiction. It is an addiction just like a drug. Their phones. These poor kids, they cannot leave their phones alone for a second. There's the clouds of them go to my gym, and once they occupy a piece of equipment, you can forget about it because that piece of equipment is out of action for the day. Because they'll just sit on it just with their phones, and then they'll do like about 5 seconds worth of exercise, and then immediately they'll whip their phone out again, as though in the 5 seconds that they weren't looking at it, they might have missed something. Thanks a lot, Tim Berners-Lee. We like all the puppy dog videos, but as for addicting us to our smartphones, not happy about that. Not very much at all. I've got to take these calls, and then I'll get back to what it was that I said I was going to tell you about. Andy in Sheffield. Andy.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
All right, thanks.
First of all, well, what I wanted to talk about initially was Brexit, but without phones, you would be without a job, wouldn't you?
Phones. Yeah, phones is one thing. It's the. I think what they're doing on their phones is so-called social media.
I'm being pedantic.
Yes.
I do apologise. Anyway, Brexit. Yes, I was living on the streets at the time of the referendum, and I wasn't aware that I could still vote. However, at that time, I would have voted to leave.
So if you are on the streets, you don't have to have a permanent address. Is that right?
You can use a care of address. Yes.
Okay.
Something like the Salvation Army, or there are various charities around the country that allow you to use their
right.
Their address as your address or the care of address. I didn't know that at the time, and as I said, I would have voted to leave. The reason I would have voted to leave was because I was told so much stuff about how much we were obeying laws, or European laws, that none of Europe were obeying, and we were the only ones doing that. And it's just completely not true.
Almost everything we were told before the referendum was untrue.
Of course it was, yes. Yeah. But that's from both sides as well.
Oh, yeah. I believe that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that the warnings that the Leavers gave, which the warnings that the Remainers gave, now the Brexiteers are saying, oh well, of course none of that came true. So nothing that these people say is to be attended to in any way, shape, or form. But people weren't saying that the economy would die and that jobs would go the instant we voted out. They were saying that once we left the EU, in the future, is what they were saying. I think you got preposterous people like Jacob Rees-Mogg saying, well, all of these people were, their arguments have been proven incorrect. But nobody said that the economy would tank the moment after the referendum. Of course they didn't.
No, of course not. No, but the thing is, Nick, nobody knows what's going to happen. It's all predictions so far, and it could go good, it could go bad. Nobody knows.
Well, you can make you can only make educated assumptions.
A prediction on historical.
Yeah. It's like if you close your eyes and walk across the road, you can't be absolutely certain that it will be bad.
No,
but it probably will be.
Yes, it will be. Yes, yes, you're absolutely right. But again, we still don't know.
Yeah. How did you get off the streets, by the way?
I actually moved away from the city that I was living in because they were not very particularly friendly toward the homeless. And
Sheffield.
Sheffield. No. I came back to Sheffield.
Oh, I see. Right.
I'd been away for about 20 years at the time. And, I came back to Sheffield. This is where I'm from, so I had a local connection here.
And how's it? In the 20 years that you were there last.
Oh my goodness, I love the place.
Yeah,
it's fantastic. It's changed so much. There are some bad things. In fact, only just a couple of days ago, on Monday, there was a homeless guy. He did pass away, sadly, but on the street. And there is a provision needed really here for homeless at night. There is something during the day, and that's fantastic. But
really, so nobody in Sheffield is sleeping out at night.
No. I'm saying there isn't a provision.
Oh, there isn't. Oh, right, isn't.
There isn't a provision for night.
No,
there's no night shelter, here. And how it works is it has to be below zero for 3 days in a row, I believe, for what's called winter watch. I think it was.
Well, that sounds like what the NHS is run. You have to be in pain for at least 6 months before the NHS will make you an appointment to see your elbow or your eyes.
I never say anything bad against the NHS.
Well,
my mother worked for them for 32 years, and I've never had anything but great. I have epilepsy. I've got various medical conditions, and I've never had anything but great treatment from the NHS.
Okay, but the problem that I have with when people say that is that you're not really comparing it to anything else other than wait a minute. Other than not being treated.
Well, I used to live in America, so I've worked...
Well, okay, discount America. The American system is the worst, and it's the only country on earth that acts in that way. So let's not compare ourselves to America, because they have got it all wrong.
Oh, I completely agree with you.
Hey, listen, I'm going to have to go, Andy, but I'm glad that things are working out for you. Let me read some text and emails. We'll go for the news, and I'll come back, and I will tell you about the Pussycats, which is it's a story that's indicative of the... we're just walking up the wrong path. We've made a wrong turn somewhere, the human race. I think that it is hopefully it'll be a fleeting moment of misdirection. Because if we don't row back from where we are right now, then we're all in big trouble, huge. So I'll come to that in a minute. This says, James says that it's something that he's been saying for years, that Britain is still living in the 19th century. Now with the Brexit vote, they have this idea that the old empire is waiting for them to come and lead them. I think that... Well, I know what you're saying. And this says, would you please do a cat bit as soon as possible? I need to sleep because I'm at work early tomorrow. Me and my cat Teddy need to know before we drop off to sleep. I'll do it next. I promise. I double promise. Jacob Rees-Mogg in a scuffle. He's taken off his cravat and his manservant's holding his cummerbund. No, don't do it, Jacob. It ain't worth it. Let me take this call here. Inappropriately Catford, and then I'll do the cat thing. Stephen.
Oh, good Lord.
Stephen.
I'm here. I'm there.
You are here.
Yes. First, a quick blast on technology. Someone told me about some headphones. They said these headphones are going to change your life. And so, I bought them. I had a perfectly decent pair of headphones. I mean, I listen to a lot of music, and sometimes late at night I kind of put them on, and so I bought these headphones, hundreds of blooming pounds.
Yeah.
And then I listened to them and thought, well, what am I missing here? Steely Dan.
Steely Dan.
Yowza. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I thought. Can't buy a thrill on an Asia.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they're beautiful records.
Fabulous.
Anyway, so.
And they don't sound good on these headphones?
No, they sound blooming rubbish. And the other headphones sound much better.
Well, take them back. Get your money back.
Well, I'm going to take them back. But the other thing is they kept cutting out, and it kept saying you have to charge the battery.
Oh, no,
So
no. Batteries, I think you've taken a wrong turn somewhere. Batteries? No.
I know, but these are a well-known...
I don't care about that. Are they wireless headphones?
Yes.
Oh, my
Awful.
God.
Absolutely awful.
No.
No, absolutely.
Wired.
Anyway. Yes, they've got to be. They've got to be plugged in. I thought I'd try to move into the 20th century.
Yeah, no, don't do it, Stephen.
No, I'll get you waxing into that.
Stay in the 19th century like the rest of us. The water's lovely.
Anyway, talking of the 19th century, Brexit.
Because I was going to buy one of these. I was going to upgrade my my CD player. I have one. Much to my shame and embarrassment, I have an ancient old CD player that I, put my music on to watch the sun go down. It's rubbish. So I thought I'll upgrade to one of these, these multiple room devices that are stupidly expensive for one little speaker that's just connected to your Wi-Fi. Then I thought, no, wait a minute, I won't do that. I'll pull my ancient speakers from about 1977 out of the cupboard, and I'll buy an actual proper CD player and connect it to them with wires. And holy macaroni, it sounds fantastic.
Yowza. I bet it does.
And better than any of those stupid, tiny little things that you control with an app.
Yeah, but how good do you want things to sound?
I want it to sound fantastic.
Yeah, and my old, which are back now. I'm taking these blinking things back tomorrow.
Yeah, take them back
Thank
tomorrow.
you, Apple, you're rubbish. And
other rubbish headphones are available. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I won't mention the name. It just came from that store. I don't know. I'm an idiot sometimes. But this poor old Theresa May. I almost, had sympathy for her, to be honest. It's a horrible job she's got.
Yeah.
And it ain't going to end. No.
I don't think it's going to end well at all. Not for her personally, or for us as a country.
No, and the irony is, this is what bugs me. She was pro-Remain.
Yeah.
We have a leader of the opposition who is, for 40 years, has been against the EU. It's a capitalist cabal.
As opposed to this country, which is very anti-capitalist.
So, and John McDonnell and the Tony Benn type left, they're all against the EU, all of them. But the little darlings that were singing Jeremy Corbyn at Glastonbury.
Yeah. They weren't remotely interested in politics. Oh, please. The people at Glastonbury, first of all, they were absolutely out of their minds.
Want to score some pot?
Every single one of them was on something, and neither were they remotely interested in politics. They just got caught up in a moment. I mean, don't read anything into that. No. There was no youthquake. That was one of the words of the year, wasn't it? The youthquake. The youth came out in vast numbers to vote on Brexit and to vote on the recent general election. No, they didn't.
No.
And that is why no politician is going to promise anything for young people, is because young people can't be bothered to go out and vote because they're too busy flapping their thumbs at their blooming phones.
Yeah, but where is this is what worries me. I mean, there is an opposition to Brexit, and an intelligent one, coming from, quote, Labour moderates or whatever, people like Chuka Ramuna, the Liz Kendall, people like that are now completely out of the. But these are pro-European. They have
There seems to be a massive opportunity there for somebody. It should be Her Majesty's opposition to take an opposing view of the government. I mean, that's what they're for, isn't it? But they seem to be either saying nothing or in like a vague acquiescence, or I've got no idea what they want or where what their position. Exactly. We'll see what happens. Which is just weak and pathetic. If you want to actually play this game, then the game is opposing the government.
Yeah, and they're not. Where is Jeremy Corbyn? I mean, what is he doing, and what does he believe, and what does he? Well, I know what he believes. I mean, I'm an old,
I think he made his way into his house, and then he couldn't fight his way through that Day of the Triffids nightmare that he's got in his front yard. He's locked in there with his own garden plants.
Oh, I don't know. But anyway, listening to Steely Dan, man, tell all your viewers and your listeners, go out and buy it.
Go out and buy it immediately. And not on downloads, not MP3s or any of that rubbish. You need the actual CD. You need to hold it, touch it, smell it, and squeeze it.
All the vinyl, whatever.
Vinyl. That's a passing fad. It's just fashion. There's people aren't buying vinyl to play it. They just aren't. It's over. Just let it go, kids.
They're buying vinyl like they're having beards.
And people say that vinyl sounds better. That may be true if you have a really expensive turntable and system. It won't sound better on that £69 USB connected turntable that you bought in a clothes shop when you bought your vinyl copy of Ziggy Stardust. Exactly. A bad turntable will sound way worse than a cheap CD player. Believe me. All right, thanks a lot, Stephen. Got to go. Cheers, mate. I said I was going to do a cat thing, but this bloke's been waiting forever. I'll take him, and then everybody else is going to have to wait till I do the cat thing. Langley, hello, Dion.
Yeah, good evening, Nick.
Oh, hello, Dion. All right, mate.
Yeah, not bad, mate. Comfortably numb. Comfortably numb. We're living with Brit.
Yeah, comfortably numb.
Headphones. I've got headphones.
Just a little pinprick.
Yeah.
That'll keep you going for the show.
For the show, that's it.
Yeah. Come on, it's time to go.
Yeah, I love it how you're doing the David Bowie.
It's not David Bowie. That is
I know, but David Bowie done it with.
I know he did. Yeah, but that's not who I'm doing. That is actually on the record, and I think you'll find that is a perfect impression.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. And that David Bowie, when he did get on the stage, it was at Pompeii. We couldn't remember, but I looked it up.
Is that right, Pompeii?
Yeah. I've got headphones hanging on my bedpost. No, really. They got a lead on them.
Yes.
3 metre lead. And they're...
Is that enough? 3 feet? That's not enough.
3 metre lead, yeah.
Oh, 3 metres? Yeah, metres.
Yeah, it's good. With a gold plug on the end.
Has to be gold, yeah.
Yeah, and they weren't that expensive. They're Sennheiser. The full ear ones.
That's what I'm wearing right now, as a matter of fact.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
These are ancient. The ones that I'm wearing right now are absolutely ancient, falling apart, but they're so old that they don't make them anymore. And I bought a pair. Stupid. I listen to the people online, because whenever I go and buy anything at all, you always go online to find out what other stupid people have said about this product. And they said, these are the most comfortable headphones that you've ever put on in your life. I work in a studio, they said, and I have these on for 12 hours a day. And I thought, okay, well, that's exactly what I want. I want a replacement for the super extra double light comfortable ones that I'm wearing now, that I've been wearing for decades.
Yeah.
And I bought them, and it was like having my head in a vice. It was as though my ears were being squeezed together through my brain. They were so tight and hot and desperately uncomfortable. So I've got a brand new, unused £80 pair of headphones, if anybody's interested.
Are they Sennheiser as well?
Well, without mentioning any brand names?
Yeah, well, not going to hurt, is it? Others are available.
Are they?
No. But these are so comfortable. They're Even the top bit that goes on your head are padded.
Yeah. Well, I would hope so. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, I paid $49.99 for these.
How much?
$49.99.
Right.
From a reputable store.
Yeah, from some bloke in the pub. Mm-hmm.
No, from a reputable store that begins with an A and ends with an R. All right, it's Argos. Other stores. But they're very comfortable.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad that you and your headphones are happy.
Well, they're comfortable. That's
Yeah.
all about.
Right.
Yeah, you're on about. Before I get to the point.
Oh, there's a point. I'm so happy.
Right, no headphones. Yeah, I had my niece come round the other day and she saw my phone on my table and she didn't know what it was. She said, "What's that?" I said, "It's a landline." Oh, cool, you got a landline. You know,
old school. Yeah.
Anyway, I watched a good film earlier this evening.
Mm-hmm.
It's called 48 Hours.
Oh, yeah, Eddie Murphy? No. Chris.
Nolte, yeah.
Who's it?
Nick Nolte.
And Eddie Murphy, yeah.
Yeah, it was just a good film, and I was thinking with the government, Dave Davis, they should make a film with him, and so we'll give him 48 hours to get out of the EU.
Yeah.
But now I found out there's a film I can watch tomorrow called Another 48 Hours.
Oh, well, there you go.
So then there'll be, if Dave Davis does it, then he can say, we've got another 48 hours, and it'll go on and on and on.
Well, you could put one of those electric collars around him, and if he hasn't negotiated successfully within 48 hours, you know.
Yeah, do it like a Logan's Run or something. That's great. But
well, we don't have to actually go that far.
I know that, yeah, but it'd be a good thing.
Yeah.
If they lie, they evaporate.
Well, maybe that's a good idea. Actually, we put some sort of electric collar. You know, like they have those invisible dog territorial devices. They put a collar around a dog, and it gives it an electric shock if it strays too far.
Oh yeah, I have heard of that. And, yeah.
So maybe we should. Maybe that's what we should do with all of our politicians. Put an electric dog collar around them, and if they displease us, then we'll give them a zap.
And the cat thing, I'll let you do it, but LBC mentioned it at the beginning of the week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was only on the news.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I'll let you mention it.
Well, as long as it was only on the news, then, nobody would have heard of it. All right. Okay, yeah, thanks a lot, Dion. Cheers, mate. Ta-da. A cat rehoming centre says that for the first time ever, all of the felines in its care are black because cat lovers are racist. No, that's not correct. It's because cat lovers don't like black cats because they don't look good in selfies. What? This is illustrative of the degeneration of the human condition. I am very disappointed with the kids. I could be amused. I've decided to be appalled. A rescue shelter in Bishopston in Bristol has 40 cats under its care, and not one of them is a ginger or a tabby. It's almost the complete opposite of human beings, isn't it? Everybody wants a ginger one. The Moggery, which sounds like where Jacob Rees lives, but this is a cat centre. The Moggery Centre founder, called Christine, says it's not because they are traditionally associated with superstition, bad luck or witchcraft, black cats. She says they are being rejected by prospective owners because darker cats photograph badly, so don't look good in selfies.
Oh, fabulous.
Oh, Struth. I thought I'd heard it all. Christine set up a cat rehoming centre, The Moggery, 21 years ago. It's 21 years old. And she says the situation is worse now than it has ever been. You can say that again, Christine. She says it happens all the time. I'll go through all of the questions and say, are you flexible about colour? And they'll say, oh, yes, as long as it's not black. She says it wasn't like this 20 years ago. I'll tell you what, Christine, it wasn't like this 10 years ago or 5. It really is hard to imagine. or to keep in mind that smartphones are only 10 years old. The iPhone is 10 years old. Isn't that incredible? And of course, people didn't have an iPhone immediately, and we didn't have a bazillion apps immediately. So let's say that this thing that's taken over our lives, and particularly the lives of the generation that's just come up, that have lived with them, since they were very, very young. It's probably the most addictive thing that human beings have ever invented, with a possible exception of crack. I mean, it wasn't like this 20 years ago, like Christine says, or 10 or 5, and that's because people didn't take pictures of themselves all the time. I've said this before. In the old days, it were grand when I were a lad. When we bored people to death with our holiday snaps, we used to say things like, oh, here's the Taj Mahal, and here's a picture of the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, and here's the Eiffel Tower. Now people say, here's a picture of me, and here's a picture of me, and oh look, it's a picture of me. And it's not just this Moggery Centre in Bristol. It isn't just Christine who's saying it. There's another rescue centre for cats said that black cats are always the last to be adopted because people want a pet that looks better on Facebook and Instagram. Holy smoke, I give up on the human race. These are the people that we're supposed to be listening to, whose will we're supposed to be obeying. I rest my case. The human race should not be asked its opinion on anything. At most, it should be asked its opinion as to what flavour ice cream it wants in a parlour. That's it. Amy Buckle, who is a name that I'm not making up, it's an actual person. Amy Buckle, a branch manager at the Last Chance Animal Rescue Centre in New Romney in Kent, said, people these days seem caught up in taking photos and putting them on Facebook and Instagram, and they want almost a model animal that they can put across social media. So people will like it. Oh look, I got 3 likes. Which indicates how popular you are as a person. No, of course it doesn't. But that's how people rate themselves these days. And that is part of the insidious nature of the smartphone and the so-called social media, which is actually anti-social media. People forever trying to get validation from other people that they may or may not even know. And that is the alarming thing about it. It gives you an actual number, how popular you are, how successful you are as a human being. I mean, it's bad enough for adults. Can you imagine what that does to the teenage mind? It's like I said, no wonder they're on their blooming phones all day, because they're after self-validation. The phone vibrates or goes ping or pong or whatever noise it makes. I should put that on my phone as its bell tone. And as soon as it goes off, they think, oh, somebody likes me. Somebody likes the picture of my dinner that I just put up on Facebook. So it's very important. In real life, you might not be liked. But on social media, holy smoke, you put up a picture of a black cat and it just looks like nothing. But if it's a ginger cat or a white one, then the whole internet just goes berserk. And they start pinging up those likes, which means that you are a successful, warm and well-loved human being. No, of course it doesn't. But it makes people think that. God. So black cats are actually an indicator of the state of the mental condition of the human race. Who'd have thunk it? I'm very disappointed. I am. This was the story that affected me the most negatively, because I have always had black cats. Maybe that's it. I like black cats. I mean, I don't like it when they, kill songbirds. Oh, what beautiful noise they make. but they're just so purry and cute. In preparation for kitten season, which is between April and September, the Moggery cat house... No, wait, it's not a cat house. Cat centre. Cat house is something else.
Disgusting.
Yeah, this is not a cat house. This is a cat centre. You know, it's a rescue centre. The Moggery is encouraging owners of black cats in Bristol to take their cats to be neutered in February, in preparation for kitten season. And Christine, the woman who runs it, says, we're trying to get people to neuter their black cats in February. It's important young black cats are neutered before they get any big ideas, she says. And they start engaging in hot feline relations with each other. Ugh. So there it is. That's an indication of where we are. I think that IQs have dropped rapidly over the last 10 years. Who's with me? Meanwhile, Paul says, I was watching the BBC News with the subtitles and the BBC system recognised Theresa May's pronouncement of negotiations as the Goosey Asians several times. I will never be able to think of it in any other way now. The Goosey... That's exactly what Boris Johnson would do. And they'd call it a gaff. He'd go over to China and he'd goose some Asians.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Prince Philip might be able to get away with it, but not you, Boris. And certainly not you, Theresa. How are the Goosey Asians going, by the way? Are they going in our favour? Just ask.
Your call is important to us.
Yes, Jackie, in Enfield, your call is important to me.
Oh, thank you. That's good. I'm glad, because I like to talk to you.
Jackie.
We're talking about black cats.
Oh, yes.
We love black cats. We've only ever had black cats in the family.
Yeah, us too.
And I will ever only have black cats. At the moment, I've got 2. And I'm planning on getting a 3rd one.
Now, wait a minute.
Yes, go on.
Is it... the 2 black cats, are they related?
No, not at all.
Right.
No.
Do they get on? No.
Well, the second one was a kitten.
Yes.
And it took the older one, that's nearly 11, 4 months to get used to him.
Yeah.
So
Probably still not used. Probably still not used to them yet.
No, they're all right together now.
Well, that's when you're around, Jackie. You've got no idea what what sort of shenanigans they get up to when you're not there.
Yeah, I see feathers and everything all over the place. No, they get on now. They get used to each other after a while.
See, I read, and it makes perfect sense, that because cats are very territorial and they don't like crossing other cats, they sort of make their rounds to coincide with an absence of other cats. And they do it by going around and squirting their feline juices all over the place, which they can read with their cat brains. But I read, and it makes perfect sense to me, that cats, if you want several cats, they should all be brother and sister cats. Because if they're related, then they get on like a house on fire. If they're not related, then they're all a bit territorial and a bit scratchy.
Yeah, that doesn't always work out though, because we lost one and we wanted another one. So, it did take a while, but they got used to each other.
Right.
And they play now. They fight and they play and they bring in the worms.
Worms?
The little one brings in worms.
Worms?
When it's raining. When it's raining, is it squiggling outside?
It's raining. What, to keep them dry? That cat's mad.
He brings it inside, and I go down and see it in the middle of the kitchen. He just drops it in the middle of the kitchen.
Oh.
And then you see this worm. But you know what? If the worm, if I don't see it and it stays all night, it dies by the morning.
Oh.
Because it loses all its slither.
Well, it loses all its slither all over your kitchen.
I have to bleach everything. Yeah, so he's quite funny, that little one. I've heard they bring in frogs, they have done in the past.
But worms is a new one on me. I'm kind of surprised at worms.
I have never heard of that before, but, you know...
Your cat needs help.
Yeah, he's seen a psychotherapist. It's not really helping much.
No.
Mind you, saying that, he brought a bird the other day, so...
Oh, well, thank goodness for that. What kind of a bird was it?
You know what? I only saw the feathers.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I thought it might be in the house somewhere, but they must have disposed of it.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least it gave you the feathers. All right, thanks a lot, Jackie. It's a shame, really, that cats are such murderous little things, because they're so cute to us. I mean, unless we had like 100 cats, they probably couldn't gang up and kill us, but they certainly can kill pretty much anything else that's smaller, and occasionally some things that are bigger than they are. They get through hundreds of millions of songbirds and rodents. We're not that bothered about rodents, but it's the Tweety birds what we miss. It's a shame it's not like they're hungry. They're just, gripped with the urge to go out and kill stuff. Carnforth. Hello, Annie.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Yep, Chuck.
Just ringing about cats as well, about
Yes.
black cats. Well, I'm in cats protection, and this has been a problem for years and years, actually, about black cats. Not just black cats, but monochrome cats as well, black and white ones. Nobody wants them.
Why?
Well, I'm not sure whether it's entirely due to the phone thing, although I'm sure that could be part of it now, because people are so blooming narcissistic. All they want to do is, have their likes on Facebook or whatever it is. But yeah, I don't know. I think people are very superficial. They like the pretty coloured ones, and
but black cats look so great.
Oh, I think they do. We've had loads of black cats over the years. We had 5 cats at one time. Not all black. About 3 of them were black. Actually.
5?
Yeah. Well, because I don't know. People always bring us cats because they know we take in rescue cats and stuff. So we end up with loads of them. But we had a neighbour.
You collect them like most people collect umbrellas.
Well, we don't really mean to. I think they home in on us. Some of them just come into our cat flat and decide they're going to stay.
Yeah.
So,
nice house. I'll take it.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Think, this is a 5-star residence for cats. I think we'll move in here.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a neighbour when we used to live in Lancaster, and she had a cat that had 3 kittens, and she was keeping one, and she found a home for another one, and then the other one, she said, somebody who she knew was going to come round and have a look at this kitten, and I said, that's great, get that home. And anyway, I saw her a week later, and she said, I said, did you get a home for this other kitten? She said, oh no, she said, they came round and no, it was the wrong colour. It was a tabby, but it wasn't the right colour tabby. It was it was, how a lot of tabbies are that sort of browny coloured tabby, but this one was what in cat parlance they call blue cream, which is that sort of smoky grey and peachy colour. And it was blue cream, and she didn't want blue cream. I don't know whether it didn't go with her soft
smoky grey and peachy. That sounds like the makeup that Donald Trump puts on.
Oh, shut up!
Yeah, she was absolutely beautiful, actually, and we ended up taking her in. We had 4 at the time, and I said, what the hell, I have another one. So, yeah, she was absolutely my favourite cat. But people are really superficial about it. And, yeah, Cats Protection actually have a Black Cat Day every year where they sort of have a big campaign for pushing, trying to get people...
A clear out.
No, not literally a clear out, but they have a big campaigning thing and go around trying to persuade people to take black cats and black and white ones.
Yeah.
And we've got a black and white one at the moment. She's the last one left, and we didn't get another one with her because she's very nervous, highly strung rescue cat, and she's only about the third of the size of a normal cat. So she's 19 now, and so when anything happens to her, then we will get 2 from Cats Protection that are been brought up together, but we'll definitely get a black one or 2 black ones, or a black and white one and a black one, but we'll definitely be getting the monochrome ones.
I wonder if black cats are actually at an advantage in the wild because they are more easily secreted in, like hiding in bushes to get birds and things.
Maybe.
Get David Attenborough. Wake him up. Wake up David Attenborough and get him on the phone. He'll explain it to us.
I don't know, but I mean, I just think people are incredibly superficial about the kind of animals they have, not just with cats.
You could have just ended that sentence on superficial. People are really, really superficial.
They are, definitely, and definitely
getting worse.
As pets are concerned. I mean, look at how people are with dogs. You know, they go through fashions, don't they? The sort of macho dog of fashion when I was younger was an Alsatian. Then it went to, I don't know, Rottweilers and Dobermans, and now it's Staffies, isn't it?
I think it's lions now. I think people are dragging around a bomb on a piece of string, you know, because that makes them hard.
Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it? And for women, it's all these little pooches, isn't it? Women like to carry little pooches around in their handbags.
Why would anybody have a yappy thing that just doesn't shut up like that? Oh, that's just painful, those things. They aren't dogs, they're... I don't know what they are, but it's not... if you're going to have a dog, have a proper dog. And if you're going to have a proper dog, have somewhere to let it run. Don't have a proper dog in a flat, or even in the centre of a town, where all you're going to do is walk it around a concrete block so it can pee in a lamppost. That's not what a dog wants. A dog wants to run and run and run and run and run. At least cats are smart enough to be able to leave the house and find their way back again, whereas a dog will just run in one direction, all excited at chasing a squirrel or whatever it is, and you'll never see it again. That's how stupid dogs are.
Well, I don't think people should have dogs if they're out at work all day either.
No,
they're pack animals and they don't like being on their own. If you've just got
animal cruelty. We think that we're animal lovers, but we're not. It's the opposite.
No, absolutely. And, I mean, cats protection, just sometimes the stuff that I read in the magazine, because I get, because I'm a member, I get the magazine.
Well, don't tell us, Annie, because I'm upset enough as it is.
No,
just the thought of people getting a black cat and then taking a selfie because I want to look fabulous with my cat in the selfie, and then they see the picture come out and you can't really see the cat. It just looks like a black area in the picture, and think, I don't like it, and so I'm going to throw it away.
Yeah, they'll take it back. They actually do that. God, the amount of cats that end up going back into sanctuaries.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I had a stupid neighbour one time when I was in Lancaster. She took a cat back to the sanctuary because she got pregnant. I can't have it when I'm pregnant. And I was saying, well, if you're worried about the litter tray and everything, wear gloves, because there's this sort of thing about toxoplasmosis that you can, get off cats if you're not very hygienic with a cat litter tray, and it's dangerous if you're pregnant.
Oh, well, that's
I was
understandable.
thinking, well, why doesn't your partner do the cat litter tray, or put some blooming marigolds on, woman? And she said, no, I've got to take it back. And
maybe her husband should put a marigold on, and she wouldn't be pregnant in the first place.
Yes, but I can tell you the Cattery were not pleased. They're really not pleased when you bring them back.
Yeah, well, I would think so. They're spending most of their time trying to get rid of them.
Yeah, so especially if you've got a really stupid reason like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, listen, Annie, I'm going to have to go, but thanks a lot. Hello, Christine.
Oh, hello.
Christine.
I didn't think I was going to get a time slot.
Yes, here's your slot.
Yeah, no, so we were talking about... what are we talking about?
I don't know. Cats?
Pardon?
Cats?
Yes, cats. Black cats, in particular.
Black cats, yes, that's what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. I've got 2 black and white ones that I got from Battersea Cats and Dogs. But I love black cats. My next door neighbour's got a black Oriental, he's so intelligent.
Now, what's a black Oriental?
A black Oriental is, I'll tell you what, think of a Siamese.
Yeah, if you please.
Yes, exactly. Yes, think of a Siamese,
yes.
but all black.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, and he's got big ears, and he's so intelligent.
Big ears?
No,
I'm going off it now. What, like weirdly big ears?
Yeah,
how
really
big are they?
Ears. Yes, no, he's beautiful. But my 2 are a couple little of moggies.
Yeah.
And they were abandoned in a car park when they were about 5 months old, and the police found them and took them back to Battersea Cats and Dogs. And I just lost my other 2, and so I went and got them. But I love black cats. Why would anybody not love a black cat?
Because people aren't getting pets, they're getting fashion accessories.
Oh, please.
It's true.
I know. I mean, I'm 73. I'm sorry.
73 years old. What's that in cat years?
Pardon? Well, I'm not sure what that is in cat years. I have no idea. But, I come from a different generation, and we don't view these things in the same way that people seem to view them nowadays.
No. I think that we are in agreement, Christine, in that we are very disappointed in the kids.
They're cats. They're animals.
What's wrong with your phone, by the way? It sounds like you're trying to communicate with me in Morse code. What's wrong with your phone?
Sorry?
Is there something wrong with your phone?
I hope not.
Oh, I think there is.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is it a landline? No.
Yeah, it's, But, my little girls...
Wait a minute, we haven't dealt with this important phone issue yet. Is your phone a landline?
Yeah, it's a landline.
Yeah, but is it actually connected with a wire, or is it one of these wireless landline phones?
Yeah, it's got a little stand thing on it.
Yeah, okay, so it's a wireless landline phone. Yeah, they don't work. So you want to get yourself one that's actually got a wire coming out at the end of it.
No, it's worked before.
Well, if you say so.
But my two girls, they hate each other. They're sisters, and they really hate each other. They fight.
So yeah, but it works with cat. I wasn't talking about human beings that are related to like each other. Cats that are related like each other, not human beings. Human beings hate each other.
And it's funny because you lie in bed at night, and one of them walks over me, and she sits next to me.
What, your daughters?
And goes down the bed, and she sits there.
Oh, the cats.
Just a pair of little mare bags.
Yeah. Don't let them in the bedroom, Christine.
No, I do. I can't not let them in the bedroom.
Yeah, don't let them in the bedroom.
No, they sleep with me.
That's probably not a good idea.
No, they're fine.
Not paying the blindest bit of attention to anything I'm saying. Quite right too. Don't listen to me, Christine. That is excellent advice to see, your phone doesn't work. Can't hear a word I'm saying. Anyway, I've got to go. Cheers, Christine. I have to go, and you have to go and buy another phone.
Good morning, Nick.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
your biggest fan. How are you?
I am great, mate.
So I just came home, and I heard you talk about how people have so many self photos, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to divulge into my mind, because I've got 296 photos of myself in the second
296 photos of yourself?
And you made a good point. On my holidays, like my older friends and my sister was like, how comes we can't see the sightseeing? It's all pictures of you and your mates flexing.
Yeah, because you're in front of all of the things that you went to see, but you're not actually looking at them. You've got your back to them, and you're taking a picture of them over your shoulder, but the most of the picture is taken up with your face.
No, it's worse than that. We don't even take the pictures of the monuments. We just take it of ourselves in the hotel when we're looking good. So you are right. I have to admit, I'm in my early 30s. I'm part of the millennial.
You're in your early 30s? Holy moly! I thought you were a teenager talking to me like that. That is awful, Mohammed. Please turn your life around before it's too late.
No, but it's good fun as well. But it does make me think about what you said about the, Facebook and I'm not like that.
I bet you are. I bet your phone vibrates or it goes ping or bong or whatever it might be. And I bet you're instantly on your phone waggling your thumb at it.
I definitely look at it every day.
How many followers on Twitter have you got? You don't do Twitter.
I'm not a Twitter guy.
Okay. I know the kids aren't into Twitter. It's me and Donald Trump and just people of our ilk.
I'll follow you though. I'll follow you.
Oh, well, everyone should follow me.
But I'm not big on Twitter. But no, I just think you are right. I do think it's a bit unhealthy, actually.
Yeah.
The fact that I've got 296 pictures, but they're also for when I need to upload them or change them.
Please, come off it.
Yeah,
you don't. The word "need" does not belong in that sentence.
But here's the crazy bit. Most of them are filtered because you always look better than you really do look in real life. And it made me think of something you said a couple of months ago, which is, it can come across as a facade, how we want to present ourselves.
Yeah.
But then I think it's good fun. I don't think...
No. It's wrong. It's not fun. It's not fun any more than being addicted to crack is fun. It might make you feel good initially, but in the end, it's not good for you in any way, shape, or form.
Can I counter that argument? in one respect.
Okay,
I
then.
think the new generation, including the late 20s, early 30s, I think, yes, you could argue all these selfish stuff is, what's the word when people, because of an N, I forgot what narcissistic.
Yeah.
But actually, a lot of people are now looking after themselves more than ever. So healthy eating, veganism's on the rise. I'm not that. But people are more image conscious. And
Well, but that's not necessarily a good thing, because also going with that, the kids these days are on steroids because they don't want to wait and lift weights in order to get a body like you see on the front of magazines. They want it immediately because they want to take a selfie straight away in order to get likes on the internet. So they shortcut the process and take steroids, and their heart explodes and their testicles shrink.
No, there are those that are like that. But I eat very healthy now because I think it reflects on your whole image and your whole body.
So you take a better picture. Oh my God!
They look good. I'll send you some pictures.
No, please don't. I'm begging you. All right, thanks a lot, Mohammed. Do anything else. Maybe read a book. Maybe read a book would be a good idea. Anybody read a book lately? No. You could take a picture of yourself reading a book. How about that? You could take a picture of yourself reading a book and you could caption it, "Guess what I'm doing in this picture?" And anybody under the age of 30 would be like, I don't know. So I better read some of these messages because these were sent in ages ago. Oh God, there's so many of them. I'll never read all of them. Well, I'll just read a couple. These were mostly about conversations that we were having some moments ago. This one says, we're going to have to do, if we are going to have to do trade deals around the world, I would like to have the EU doing them for us. Basically, they seem so good at it. Does that make me a Remainer or a Leaver? I'm confused.com. And Steve says, they need us more than we need them. Please read this out so I can get a full house on my bonkers Brexit bingo card. Presumably he's got thwarting Brexit and the will of the people. Bingo! Everybody gets a prize. Prize not available. Always read the label. Terms and conditions apply. Do not operate heavy machinery. Okay, well, who knows what might happen between now and 10 p.m. this very evening. It fair boggles the mind just thinking about it, don't it?